Hey everybody, welcome back one more time. This is going to be your outline demo so that you can again see this form in use and you can watch it go from blank with no sources to completed with a practice run through in less than an hour. So we're going to check the time. It says 9:52 a.m. right now. So the first thing we need to do is pick a topic. And I don't want to pick anything that you're using, but I also want to pick something that could be used so that it's not just some topic that you know that I'm making it up, or I've got it canned and I use the same thing every semester because I don't. So I'm going to go to Twitter, and this is the Grand Valley Speech Lab's Twitter. So if you are interested in following us, then there you go. You can follow us at Speech Lab, GV Speech Lab. Down there, you see it. But for now, what I want to do is I want to look and see. Boy, I don't do this enough. I'm trying to find out what's trending right now. Here we go. Trending. Um, Sound Sultan, a Nigerian rapper and singer, has died at age of 44. Unfortunate. Farting crickets, probably not. Myanmar, Unity, Virgin Galactic, Sunday Thoughts, McGregor got his leg broken. Haha. Jokovic, Jim Acosta. He reached out to me and urged me not to compare Trump in his comeback to circus clowns because it's an insult to clowns. Anthony Bourdain, Nigeria, Robin Williams. Wow, what's up with all these deceased folks? Uncle Buck. Um, Boy, what is going on with Appalachia? That's where I'm from originally, so I'll look here. If you go to New York City, I'll be trying to. Oh, okay, I see. What else do we have? I just again want to find something that's not just overdone. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's go to CNN.com. Oh, here we go. Okay. Um, U.S. airline passengers are out of control. So I'm going to use this one because this is something that's near and dear to me, and I think we could start at Grand Valley if we wanted to. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going with what we should do about out of control people following the pandemic. So here's my situation I'm setting up. We've all been in lockdown for well over a year now. Things have been so limited, very little interaction. Now that people are able to go out again, they're kind of just running amok, right? I mean, people are losing their minds a little bit. So, what we are going to do is talk about what's happening with that right now, and then we're going to talk about how we can, think about this in terms of Grand Valley. We're not going to try to call for change yet. That's the persuasive speech. This is the informative. We'll do one of those as well later, but not today. Okay, so here we go. We are going to talk about um, wild people after lockdown. And the purpose is for a demo, but this is the informative speech. Okay. For some reason, whenever I type on recording, I can't type very well, so you're just going to have to bear with me with that. So let's think about an attention getter here. Well, I see a nice story right here, and I might just use it for the attention getter. Let's see here. I know that there was a flight that had to be landed. So, it's $21,000 case against the man on Frontier Airlines holiday season flight between Nashville and Orlando after tucking into his own private supply. Of alcohol. The guy fought with the flight attendant while passengers were being asked to wear a face mask, even hit the person next to him in the head. Okay, so $21,500 is the fine. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. $21,500. What would you do with that money? Loans, debt, car, party. going to talk about airline customer paid over $21,000 for a partial trip. I'll come back to that in a minute. So my name's Carl, and I want to talk about human behavior following lockdowns. By the end of this speech, you should know more about how people are responding to re-entering the social life. Thesis, we're going to come back. Remember, 2 reasons you should care. Well, one is that we are all experiencing this re-entry, if you will, and will feel it even more when we return to campus. And then 2, we need to, well, I don't want to say we need. Anytime we say we need, we will all likely encounter someone who is struggling to re-enter social life. Okay, preview of main points. We're going to talk about the lockdowns. We're going to talk about re-entering social life, and we're going to talk about challenges and changes, we'll call it. So what we'll do there is talk about, okay, we've been in this lockdown for a long period of time. Here's what happened during that time. Now we're, second point, re-entering social life. And so what that looks like, what we're seeing. And then third, some challenges and changes to be aware of. So we could talk about, people when they have this new freedom, they just sometimes go nuts with it. And things are different now. It's not the same world as it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. And so we'll talk about how that might have changed. So to begin, let's talk about the lockdowns that limited social life in America. So, lockdowns, that's going to be our first main point. And since we've already got these, let's just go ahead and enter that information here. Re-entering social life, and then challenges and changes. We'll go there. Yep, without the D. All right, lockdowns. Let's find some stuff. Let's go to lockdowns. Maybe making us more authoritarian. Okay, so Britain's created permanent pandemic lockdown. When is this? July 2nd. Let's see. New cases are growing. New cases are steady. New cases are holding. Okay, great. Yay, we're growing. Okay, so what I think I may say here is the height of restrictions in late March, early April, more than 310 million Americans were under directives ranging from shelter in place to stay at home. I'm just going to say that first. Now, okay, I see. It's not really a quotation. They've just put it from shelter in place to stay at home. If it's a real quotation from someone else, that's where I would need to find the secondary or the primary source. But this is fine. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drop it in just like that. Now, change the formatting so that it looks decent. And this is coming from USA Today. Now, you don't have to put the month, but since this is from this month, I'm just going to put this month because then it shows the relevancy, that the recency of this article. And so what I will also do here is I will take my highlighter And I'm going to color that one yellow just so it sticks out to me. Now you can put them down here if you want, but you don't have to. So what does that mean? Division A, the height of the lockdowns, all these people were in lockdown. Now let's find something about the effects of lockdown. Okay, we have. This is a peer-reviewed journal that we've just stumbled across. BMC Public Health. Now, if you'll notice, this is the full paper is down here and we can read it, but I'm just going to read through this and see what we find here. They go beyond physical and mental health, incorporate into wider well-being impacts in terms of what people are free to do or be. Support. This is in Austria, but that's okay. Still humans and lockdown. 31% of participants reported low mental well-being, and only 30% of those with a history of mental health treatment received treatment during lockdown. Past mental health treatments. Okay. Capability impact vary between 9% reporting. So the conclusion is our study is the first to assess capability limiting aspects of lockdown relevant vulnerabilities alongside their impacts. The negative capability of well-being, mental health, and social support impacts of the COVID-19 lockdown were the strongest for people with a history of mental health treatment. Okay, so we've got some mental health suffering going on that we're clearly able to identify here. Okay, during this time, we're going to say people suffered not only physically but mentally from the isolation felt during lockdown. And then I can do my ones and twos here. Well, actually, let me cite this really quick. So this is from the BMC Public Health. I want to know what BMC stands for. Just a little pet peeve when people just throw out BMC, like, oh yeah, of course, BMC. What does that mean? BMC Public Health. BMC Public Health. About BMC. BMC. Nope. What does BMC stand for? I really hope nobody sees it just blaring on the screen and they're like, it's over there, idiot. Let's see if we can get it from somewhere else. Let's just ask straight up. What does BMC stand? Bore mineral content, business model, canvas, base. Don't think it's that. Bone mineral content, Boston Medical Center. BMC stand for journal. Biomed Central. Perfect. Biomed Central. Just take that extra couple seconds to find that out. So this is from, I'm going to call it by its name, Biomed Central. What was it called here? Public Health Journal. Telling you, tough to type. 2021. Great. Go ahead and put a little color on that one so that it grabs my attention. So they said most people were at risk were those with previous mental health issues, vulnerability significant capability reductions were observed in association with increase of depression and anxiety. Okay, there we go. major increases in depression and anxiety. Most impactful for those with existing mental health concerns. Okay. And now that we know the we'll call it hardships associated with lockdowns, we can discuss how, I'll just say we can discuss re-entering the social world. Okay, so now let's find something for that. We had it over here. Let's just do this. Airlines and post-COVID. Unruly passengers on the plane. Okay, Washington Post. So chaotic. What flight attendants want you to know as you travel again. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the agency has received more than 3,000 reports of unruly passengers since January 1st, and there was only 146 in 2019. So I think that's important. We could cite that, but we don't necessarily want to cite the Washington Post for that part, so we're going to put it here. Federal Aviation, and that is from 21. Okay. What was that number? Jump back real quick. So we might say airlines are seeing many unruly passengers after limited travel for so long. What we'll do, instead of making it a B, we'll make it a 1, and we will say, according to the Federal Aviation Administration earlier this year, there have been over 3,000 complaints of unruly passengers so far in 2021. And then for comparison, the Washington Post from this year says that there were only, how many? 146. 146 in all of 2019. So now we've got 2 more sources that we need to put in some color. So then Washington Post. I'll put you here. That should actually be a 2, not a division B. Okay, there's got to be more going on than just people going buck wild on airplanes. So let's go and find out. Post-COVID behavior change. Let's see what this is about. Sometimes you just got to read through, and there's nothing else you can do, but just see what you've got here. Social interaction involves enemies, mobility, health, and finance. We expect this to continue. I like this. Let's go with it. Copy. Move it over. And of course, match the. That's better. This is according to. Who are you? Oh, I'm going to slaughter that name. Mahesh, senior economist. I'm just going to say according to a senior economist. The Swiss RE Institute. Now we need to understand what the Swiss RE Institute is, and it is about us, superior research driving better decisions. Oh, Swiss Research Institute. Okay. That's from this year, so we'll put according to the Swiss Research Institute from 21. So will there even be a real social life anymore? Okay. Now that we know more about lockdowns and the rough transition back into a social world, we can finish with some clear challenges and changes post-COVID. Challenges and changes. Let's see what we've got here. Now, don't forget, we need a peer-reviewed journal article. So let's just grab one of those real quick. gvsu.edu/library. We'll come over to databases. We'll go to Academic Search Ultimate. Again, if this is all sort of like, what's he doing so fast? Go back and watch the video on finding your sources. That should be helpful. And then, of course, go ahead and do scholarly peer-reviewed with full text. And we're going to put COVID and behavior modification. Let's just see what we get. Well, a lot. Behavioral changes before lockdown and decreased retail and recreation mobility during contributed most to controlling. Okay. Okay. I like this. So what we're going to be able to say here is that this decreased mobility during lockdown contributed most to controlling COVID-19. We can just really take that from the straight up the title here. This is another BMC Public Health. How about that? We already had that one, I suppose, but we can do another one. Okay. So we're going to say, according to a separate, no, stay with me on this, separate article from BMC Public Health. Should capitalize the P, but that's okay. Public Health from 2021. The most effective way we controlled the spread of COVID was by limiting mobility during lockdown. Go ahead and color that one in. Oops. Yeah, not going to be able to see that. So we can reuse colors. I just like to keep them all new. We'll do that. And we also need one here. Okay. Sure. And so we don't decide everything, remember? So now we'll just say, now that lockdowns are ending, we see more travel than we have in the past 2 years. And this major shift from stay home to get out has caused some friction in a variety of ways. And that should be good. And then we don't need that anymore. So let's go back and make sure that we've got everything. We've only been working on this for about 20 minutes. So after hearing this speech, you should just go back up where we had it here. You should know more about this. So copy, roll it down, plug it in. We'll come back and do our thesis in just a moment, review the main points. Let's just grab them here. Then our conclusion, our closure, we talked about $21,000, 500. Okay. So why would anyone pay $21,500 for a partial flight? Well, you don't have much choice when you cause an emergency landing due to drunken fighting. So keeping your head together as you enter the social world can not only keep you healthy, but keep you from going broke. Fine. That'll work. Now, the thesis statement, to sum all this up, it's going to be life during and after lockdowns is very different. Copy. Clearly, life during and after lockdowns is very different. Okay. So we now have a full speech that we can run with here. And it only took about 20 minutes. You grab a timer, and I'm going to give you this speech just so that you can see, this is very important now, how this flows. I mean, there's really no need for, a lot of ad-libbing or, playing around with what's here. Just go for it. So this is our normal speech. Let me make sure I get it right here. So yeah, just take a quick look. I think I know how long it's supposed to be, but I always like to make sure we find it together. So again, just so that we're all on the same page, before you do any assignment, just come back up here to these grade or the assignment details, and that is going to be helpful. 4 to 6 minutes. Okay. So I'm just going to go through it. I'm going to read most of it. I don't want you to read your final, but this is just, again, to see where we are with time and to show you how it can flow. You ready? There we go. It's running. $21,500. Is that a lot of money? What would you do with it? Pay off loans, pay off your debt, maybe buy a car, maybe just throw a great party? Well, one airline customer recently paid over $21,000 for a partial trip. Hi, I'm Carl, and today I want to talk to you about human behavior following COVID lockdowns. By the end of this speech, you should know more about how people are responding to the reentry of the social world. Life during and after lockdowns is very different, and you should care about this topic because one, we're all experiencing this reentry, and we're going to feel it even more in the fall when we all go back to campus. Two, we will all likely encounter someone who is struggling to re enter social life in an effective way. Maybe it's us, maybe it's someone else. Today, we're going to talk about lockdowns, re entering social life, and then the challenges and changes people are experiencing. So, to begin, let's talk about lockdowns that limited social life in America. Now, at the height of the restrictions in late March and early April of this past year, more than 310 million Americans were under directives ranging from shelter in place to stay at home. And that's according to the USA Today from just earlier this month. During this time, people suffered not only physically from not getting outside, but mentally from the isolation felt during the lockdown. According to the Biomedical Central Public Health Journal from 2021, there were major increases in things like depression and anxiety among Americans. The most impacted in terms of who was hit by this were those with existing mental health concerns. So it was affecting everyone mentally, the lockdown, but for those who were already dealing with mental health issues, they seemed to struggle the most. Well, now that we know about the hardships associated with lockdowns, let's move on and talk about re-entering the social world. Airlines are seeing many unruly passengers after limited travel for so long. In fact, according to the Federal Aviation Administration from earlier this year, there have been over 3,000 complaints of unruly passengers so far in 2021. We're only halfway through the year. Now, to compare that, the Washington Post from this year as well said that in all of 2019, there were only 146 of these reports. So 3,000 in a half a year versus 146 in a full year. Things are changing. Also, according to the Swiss Research Institute from 2021, the increased use of digital tools is blurring the lines between work, lifestyle, and social interactions in things like mobility, health, and finance. And they really expect that to continue in a post-COVID-19 world. So in other words, some folks, instead of getting depressed or sort of agitated by staying inside, adapted almost too well to the point where they're able to use sort of these digital tools now to take on what was an in-person challenge, like working or visiting doctor's offices, and they don't want to see that change. So it happens on both sides of this challenges of re-entering social life. Some can't wait to get back. Some really don't want to go. Well, now that you know more about lockdowns and this rough transition back to a social world, we can finish with some of the clear challenges and changes that we're seeing in post-COVID America. First of all, according to a separate article from BMC Public Health in 2021, the most effective way we stopped the spread of COVID was by limiting mobility of people, so keeping them locked down. And what we'll see as COVID continues to sort of slowly fade as we have vaccine hesitancy is that we may need to limit mobility again in the near future. And, this is going to be troublesome for those folks who are ready for these lockdowns to end because they really want to get back out. In fact, we're seeing a record number of air travel, since these lockdowns have started to slow. And this has caused friction in a lot of ways with people ready to get out, or again, those that maybe don't want to get out. So we're going to have to really see how these challenges play out in our near future. So after hearing this speech, you should know more about how people are responding to re-entering social life. Clearly, life during and after lockdowns is very different. But today we discussed those lockdowns, we discussed re-entering social life, and we discussed challenges and changes that we're seeing. So, back to the beginning. Who here would pay $21,500 for a partial flight? Well, I don't guess you have much choice when there's an emergency landing because you got drunk and started fighting on the plane. So, as we move into this world, I hope none of us end up in that situation, but just keeping our head together as we enter the social world can keep you not only healthy, but from going broke. And then that's it. Stop it. That was 5.5 minutes. So, I mean, that's what we're looking for in a 4 to 6 minute speech. Now, all that tells me with the time is that I don't really need to cut or add any new information. It's good the way it is lengthwise. There were a few things I added that I could probably go back in and put in text. That way, I'm more likely to do it exactly the same way the next time I practice. And then as I do that, I get sort of this rhythm down for the actual recorded speech that I will do to turn in. So that's what I want you to think of as you go through the outline process. So that's it. What I will do is post this on Blackboard so that you will have a copy of it. Of course, you can watch the video and sort of do a step by step if you need to, or if you just want to look at this and have a sort of a model, that will work as well. As always, if you have questions on any of this, please let me know. I look forward to seeing your outlines at the end of the week.